Alright guys, welcome back to Urge. We're moving on in the race report mini-series related to the character Catalyst. And we are talking about next the Kalashtar.
Yes.
A very interesting race. We're going to go over some of the features that come along with the race, some thoughts on what might work well with it, and also kind of give a little bit of background, just a little bit to kind of get you going with this race.
That's right. And the Eberron book is just full of interesting races added in. The Kalashtar is no exception. And essentially, by base, they are humans who, somewhere back along their ancestral tree, however far deep the roots go, had some kind of a spirit-based ancestor called a Kuari. And while Kalashtar can't directly communicate with this said spirit, it's still very much a part of them. The way I kind of explained it, Jameson, as to my thought was earlier, was it's almost like a more manifested conscience, I guess, because it says they feel things based on instinct and inspiration, not, detailed like, oh, I think you should go do this kind of stuff. It's more of a feeling subconscious kind of thing, but much more than just like your traditional conscious belief. But because of that, they have some interesting quirks listed, which is always cool. I think whenever they add quirks for races, it gives you a D10 table to pick from. A personal favorite one, I can't remember where far down the list it is, but essentially is you discuss things with your quarry out loud. Like, you can actually hear what they're saying, even though you're just kind of like just talking to them, and people be weirded out by that. I think that's hilarious.
Yes.
It's a great character trait to have. But because of that, and they actually specifies they lean toward like a lawful good alignment, led by their spirit of, their ancestor wants, overall good things. But interesting data lets us that the fact that you've got that as part of what you are, and kind of inspires the way they do their life.
Yeah. And with that, there are several traits that come along with them. And the first being the ability score increases, which are wisdom score increases by 2, and your charisma score increases by 1. So definitely some bonuses there, depending on what kind of you're trying to go along with. But I think thematically it makes a lot of sense.
Right.
You're having extra wisdom because you have like that spirit kind of helping you kind of thing, which is kind of interesting. They also mature about the same rate as humans. And as Alex said, they tend toward the lawful behavior. But again, that there's always outliers in any race or whatever. So there's going to be evil, and there's going to be good, and there's going to be neutral versions of all of these Kalashtar. Size is medium, as normal. Walking speed is also 30, which is normal. They also get a trait called dual mind, which I think is actually really cool, and thematically and mechanically pretty great.
Mechanically, it's pretty silly.
You have advantage on all wisdom saving throws.
Yeah.
And I would think that wisdom saving throws are probably the most common, I would say.
That and Dex. That's...
Dex and wisdom are definitely up there. Strength and con followed. Maybe con a little bit more than strength. But they're definitely up there.
All of your big punishing spells, like your hold spells and your mind trick-based spells, most of them are wisdom-based, able to hold against those. So, very, very useful.
Yeah, definitely makes some good, especially... Yeah, just advantage on any saving throw is good.
Period. It's a racial thing. It's fantastic.
Yeah. You also gain resistance to psychic damage, which, while not a very common type of damage, any kind of resistance is always nice, especially when it comes to a racial feature.
Right.
So if you pick this and you get another class or subclass that gains additional elemental types of resistances, you're just kind of like slowly acquiring resistances from different sources.
One of these days, I'll be immune to everything.
Pretty cool on that side.
Yeah, you do the Kalashtar race, have a belt of dwarven kind, and do Forge Cleric, so you have resistance to 3 different damage types.
There you go. Got it.
One time. I like to test my DM as much as I can.
Got it.
One of the other really cool racial traits they get is called Mind Link. So essentially, you can telepathically communicate with any creature that shares a language with you, equal to the distance of 10 times your level and number of feet. So if you're level 10, you can speak to somebody 100 feet away telepathically. And you can also grant that same person a chance to speak back with you telepathically for up to an hour. And you can only grant this to one person at a time, but there is no limit to the amount of uses. It's almost like a concentration without actually being a concentration. You only just hold one target at a time. But the fact that's really cool, both thematically, I think, and I can see mechanically, like you send your rogue out to kind of scout away and keep a good look on him and be like, all right, what you see, bud? Kind of thing.
Yeah, the only thing is that you have to have that line of sight. It does say they have to be able to see you. It doesn't specify if you need to see them. It just says that you need to be within a certain range, I believe. So with that, it is definitely a good way to communicate, because that's one of the big things that can come up is splitting the party, always dangerous, but having the ability to communicate at distance is always helpful.
Yep.
And
especially like giving your position away.
Right.
Yes.
Or even just like trying to get some information from somebody, and they might not know exactly where it's coming from, and you're like, over here, wink, wink. You know what I mean? Like, do some interesting stuff. But definitely pretty cool. You also have Severed from Dreams, which is basically the Kalashtar. They do sleep, but they don't connect to the plane of dreams as other creatures normally do. Instead, they have their minds drawn to the memories from their otherworldly spirit during their sleep. So because of that, they are immune to spells that affect your dreams, so like the dream spell, but they are not immune to spells that have to deal with sleep in general. So like the sleep spell would still put you to sleep if barring the conditions are met, but they do have that extra bonus there, which is thematically pretty cool, I think. And then lastly, you can speak, read, and write Common, Quarry, and one other language of your choice. Now, with the Quarry language, they're probably not going to be super useful unless your DM allows it to be a little bit more useful. But because now no one else really has the ability, and I don't know why anyone else would pick to proficiency with speaking.
It'd be interesting to come across.
Language.
It's a freebie as far as that goes.
Yeah.
As far as some of the other things you'd pair this with, wisdom and charisma is an interesting combination. Mm-hmm. The +2 to wisdom. I mean, think of anything with wisdom caster, like a cleric, for example, a druid, for example, even monks are with wisdom caster with their ability. But I think, but as far as thematically goes, I think of any kind of a caster, like your sorcerer, your warlock, things like that, seems to fit more of a theme-based thing.
Right.
But the abilities themselves can work with any class as far as that goes. It's just, being able to...
Yeah, definitely.
The wisdom saving throws helps everyone. Resistance to psychic damage helps everyone. You get telepathically helps everyone. It's just the stats as far as if you're trying to min-max.
Right.
You look at the stats and see how that works as far as that goes.
If you want to kind of go outside the box a little bit, I just had thought is you could go with maybe like a totem barbarian. Could be a really interesting of like mix it up a little bit. You kind of have the theme with the totem spirits, quarry spirits going on there,
or ancestral guardians, barbarian. Either one of those. Either one of those work pretty well.
An interesting kind of like outside of type.
Yeah.
Obviously, the wisdom and charisma is not going to help a whole lot, but could be an interesting little way to mix it up a little bit and have a little bit of a more outside the box kind of barbarian. But that being said, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this one. I think it's a pretty cool subclass. Too many series. Pretty cool race. And with the Eberron book, I think all the races in this are actually pretty interesting.
Right.
So we'll continue going on with those. But guys, if you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so our new videos come out. And as always, thanks for watching.
Damn.